inguinal hernia. These are the some other diseases which are related to the scrotum. The swelling resulting from conditions external to the scrotum, including heart failure, like scrotal swelling, heart failure, kidney or liver diseases can also cause scrotal swelling, angioma, testicular torsion. Some skin conditions which have not been successfully identified may be referred to as non-specific scrotal dermatitis. This is the another picture. I'm naming the with this picture according I have though I have already discussed this picture, but this is another important picture showing the relationship of different layers with these organs. So we will discuss in somewhere else with this slide. Then come the structure with the epidermis and its relationship, like the head of the epidermis, body of epidermis, testicular artery. Here the pictures showing the relationship of the testis, epidermis, and its surrounding structures. So in this picture it is very difficult to depict. Just I am naming these organs with their relationship. Already discussed the tunica vaginalis, different two layers of tunicas, then septa testis in the center of the testis, straight seminiferous tubules, serrated testis, seminiferous tubules. These are the different structure in the testis which are important with the relationship of the disease. Then tail of the epidermis, tunical junior testis, ductus deferens, parietal layer of tunica vaginalis, testicular vein, testicular artery, epidermis, body of epidermis. These are the organs which are related to testis. Then come to the another organs, that is the anatomy of the penis. Though most of the things you have already known to you, but these are some. So according to the pictures, the organ is supplied by rich vascular supply with muscular organs, and these are the main artery, the internal pubic artery, which is divided into two. One is the bulbourethral artery, then the dorsal artery. The dorsal artery also gives the branches to the cavernous, then cavernous spongiosum. So the bulbourethral artery gives the anterior branch to the bulb and corpus spongiosum. The glans is very richly supplied with the blood supply of two branches of internal pubic artery. So the structure of the penis is made up of three columns of tissues. The human penis is made up of three columns of the tissue. The two corpora cavernosa, and the human penis is made up of the three columns of the tissue. The two corpora cavernosa lie next to each other on the dorsal side. The two corpora cavernosa lie next to each other on the dorsal. Next, the area on the underside of the penis where the foreskin is attached is called the frenulum. The rounded base of the glans is called the corona. The perineal raphe is the noticeable line along the underside of the penis. So this is the structure of the penis, showing the three muscular organs and with their covering vessels, nerve. So these are the urethra in the corpus spongiosum, and these are the cavernosal spaces and the cavernosal artery in the center of these organs, and cavernosum, corpus cavernosum on the two sides, the covering with tunica albuginea. Then in the dorsal come the deep dorsal vein, the skin also. So the body of the penis is essentially composed of three cylinders of erectile tissue. These are the muscular tissue, of this organ enclosed in tubular sheath of fascia that is called the wax fascia. These three erectile tissue made up of the two dorsally placed corporal cavernosa and the single one in the posterior or ventral are the corpus spongiosum applied to their ventral surface. At its distal extremity, the corpus spongiosum expands to form the glans penis, which cover the distal end of the cavernous corpora cavernosa. On the tip of the glans penis is the slit-like orifice of the urethra called the external urethral meatus. Then comes the lymphatic and innervation of the penis. The lymphatic drainage, the skin of the penis drains into the medial group of superficial inguinal node. The deep structure of the penis are drained into the internal lymph nodes. They are important in case of carcinoma penis because the lymphatic drainage is according to their drainage and the draining lymph nodes has to be removed along with the excision of the disease. Then come the nerve supply. The sensation nerve supply is from the cranial nerve and the pelvic plexus, and the erectile function is by parasympathetic, excitatory, sympathetic, inhibitory. These are the two nerve erectile function: sympathetic, inhibitory, parasympathetic, excitatory. The urethra, which is the last part of the urinary tract, which is the traverses the corpus spongiosum and is its opening, known as the meatus, lie on the tip of the glans penis. It is a passage both for urine and, and ejaculation. It is a passage both for urine and the ejaculation or semen. The sperm are produced in the testicular sperm and are produced in the attached to the epididymis. During ejaculation, sperm are propelled up to the vas deferens in two ducts that pass over and behind the bladder. Fluids are aided by the seminiferous and vas deferens turn into the ejaculatory ducts. These join the urethra inside the prostate gland. The prostate, as well as the bulbourethric glands, add further secretion, and the semen is expelled through the penis. The raphe is the visible ridge between the lateral half of the penis, found on the ventral undersurface of the penis, running from. Then come the vascular supply of the penis. The common penile artery continues above the perineal membrane and terminates in three branches to supply the erectile bodies. The bulbourethra penetrate the perineal membrane to enter the spongiosum from above at its posterior lateral border. This large short artery can be difficult to isolate and control during urethrectomy. It supplies the urethra, spongiosum, and the glans. The cavernosal artery pierces the corporeal body in the penile hilum to near the center or its erectile tissue. It gives off straight and healthy branch arteries that ramify to supply the cavernosal sinuses. The dorsal artery of the penis passes between the crus penis and pubis to reach the dorsal surface of corporeal bodies. It runs between the dorsal vein and dorsal penile nerve and attached to the underside of the fascia. As it courses to the glans, it gives off cavernosal branches and circumferential branches to spongiosum and urethra. The rich blood supply to the spongiosum allows safe division of urethra during stricture repair. The surgeons contemplating penile revascularization must be aware that penile arteries are highly variable in their branching, course, and anosmosis. It is not uncommon for single cavernosal artery to supply both cavernal bodies or to be absent altogether. Alternatively, an accessory pudendal artery may supplement or completely replace the branches of common penile arteries. This arteries usually rise from the obturator or inferior vesical arteries and runs anterolateral or within the prostate to reach the penis in the company of the dorsal vein. Its resection at prostatectomy may adversely affect postoperative patency. At the base of the glans, several venous channels coalesce to form the dorsal vein of the penis, which runs in groove between the corporal bodies and drain into the pre-prostatic plexus. The circumflex veins originate in the spongiosum and pass around the cavernosa to meet the deep dorsal vein perpendicularly. In the distal two-thirds of the penile shaft and the number 3 to 10, they are present only intermediately venues formed from the cavernous sinus to drain dorsally. Emissary vein in the proximal third of the penis join on the dorsomedial surface of the cavernous bodies to form 2 to 5 cavernous veins. At the hilum of the penis, these vessels pass between the pleura and the bulb, and the sieving branches form each and join the internal pudendal veins. Valves are found in the emissary, cavernosal, and deep dorsal veins and may thwart attempts to revascularize the penis by arteriovenous anastomosis. The dorsal nerve provides sensory innervation to the penis. These nerves follow the course of dorsal arteries and richly supply the glans. Small branches from the perineal nerve supply the ventrum of the penis near the urethra as for the glans distally. These nerves must be anesthetized before performing a benign blow to numb the ventrum of the penis. The root of the cavernous nerve has been described. After piercing the corneal bodies, they ramify in the rectal tissue to supply sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve from pelvic plexus. Tonic sympathetic tone inhibit erection. The parasympathetic nerve release acetylcholine, nitric oxide, and vasoactive instant polypeptide, which cause the cavernous smooth muscle and artery relaxation necessary for erection. It is thought that during erection, the subtunical venules are occluded by being compressed against the non-distensible tunica hallucinea. Insufficient venous occlusion, particularly in vessel draining into the deep dorsal and cavernous vein, is thought to cause vasculogenic impotence. The structure and function of the male urethra. This is the another important external organs which are helpful or its anatomy is important to consider. Considered part of the external male genital by many together with the membranes and the scrotum. The urethra form the last part of urinary system like renal, pelvis, urethra, bladder. It leads from the bladder to form the external opening. Unlike the female urethra, it serves to transport not only the urine but also ejaculate. Therefore, it is also referred to as the urethral spermatic duct. The male urethra also about 20 centimeter long and is subdivided into four sections. It contains three corresponding constriction and expansions. So now, you can now mark your attendance so that in the few minutes we cover the next these four parts of the urethra, structure and the function of the male urethra. The male urethra is considered part of the external male genital by many authors. Together with penis and the scrotal sac, the urethra form the last part of the urinary system. Ureter, bladder, urethra it leads from the bladder to the external opening of the urinary tract. Unlike the female urethra, it serves to transport not only urine but also ejaculate. Therefore, it is referred to as the urethral spermatic duct. The male urethra 20 centimeter long and divided into four sections, three corresponding constriction and expansion. The section of the male urethra, the first one is pars intramuscularis urethri musculi. It is the intramural part of the male urethra located in the wall of the urinary bladder surrounded by the muscular sphincter urethrae internus. The pars prostatic urethrae, that is the part of prostatic urethra, which runs through the prostate, opening up to ejaculative duct or on the colliculus seminalis leading into the urethra. Then another part is pars membranescica urethrae masculini, that is the membranous part of the urethra. In the area of the diaphragm urogenital is a short section between the prostate and the coronary body surrounded by musculus sphincter urethrae, that is the split off from the muscular transverse perineum fundus. The ampullus urethrae located distal, distal section with the outlet of this bulbourethral glands. Then another part is spongy urethra. In the spongy body of the penis is the longest part, that is around 15 centimeter. The pars spongy is drain into the ostium urethrae, that is the external at the glans penis following the extension, or this extension is fossa navicularis. Then there are constriction and expansion of the male urethra. The male urethra carries two curvatures which together form S shape of the uh, male urethra. The so-called fixed curvature infrapubic is located at the entrance of corpus cavernosum, and the movable urethra band curvature is located at the transition of the moving part of the penis. The three constrictions, they are located in the one is the muscularis sphincter, that is urethra internus, then muscular sphincter urethra externus, and the narrowest part of the urethra, and at the ostium urethral external. The three subdivisions of the urethra include: 1. The pars prostatica, urethra, and fossa navicularis urethrae. So these are the three constriction and expansion of the urethra. So kindly mark your attendance and send in the portal of your attendance. So we will discuss in the next lecture the future how to catheterize, or what are the complications related to catheterization, or the relationship of catheterization with urethra. So how you catheterize and how this anatomy of urethra is important during catheterization. So thank you very much. Thank you.